Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief. This is the beautiful day that we have been given. It is so especially good to be together in these days that are challenging. May we make the very most of our time together, starting right now. This is our time of greeting. Please rise as you are able and reach out to say hi to somebody who's sitting near you or somebody who's sitting all the way across the meeting house. As always, Let no one go unwelcomed, ungreeted. Let's make sure everyone knows how glad we are to be together. And before we resume our seats for the chalice lighting, can we turn and face the cameras to the right of the organ and wave? And on the count of three, yell a hearty good morning to all the people tuning in from home. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, everyone at home. It is so good to be with you that way. It is so good to be with everyone in every way we can. Our chalice lighting is printed in the order of service. Can we join in the words together? This light burns also in our hearts, and it lights the way toward harmony, justice, and hope for all. Our invocation this morning is by the Reverend Rebecca Savage, a friend and colleague of mine from Maryland, who wrote, "Rejoice. Rejoice with full hearts, beloved people of blessing. Rejoice. May this time of worship celebrate what we know at our core. Blessings are real. Blessings are real and ours to claim and radiate. Blessings are abundant and ours to revel in and pass along. Blessings are transformational and ours to be challenged by as we grow towards the faith we know we can be. Let us rejoice." Our covenant is next in the order of service. Everyone is always welcome to say it. No one is required to say it, and you do not have to be a member to speak aloud these words. We, the members of the First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the light we know by many names, and with gratitude for our deep connection to each other and to the larger web of existence, covenant to walk together in our search for truth, seeking the paths of wisdom, compassion, and justice. And our opening hymn is "We Gather Together." It's number 349 in the gray hymnal you'll find somewhere near you. Can we rise in body or spirit and sing out?
Good morning. I'm Brett Summers. I'm your worship associate this morning, despite what your order of service says. Although it's really a BOGO, because Dave Anthony and I are really one and the same. So, this morning's reading is by Mary Oliver, American poet extraordinaire, Pulitzer Prize winner, and National Book Award winner. Once, when the young deer hung herself on the fence, catching one foreleg in a loop of wire, and the rough farm dogs were running toward her, I knew the only things I could do, hide my eyes or run. And I ran, faster than ever before in my life, and flung my body against hers, so that we were both pressed against the mesh of the fence while the dogs raced back and forth. But the deer did not know my meaning, or if she did, she still could not tolerate my nearness. She hooted like a goat and yanked her foot free and dashed away to the woods. A few days later, I saw her in a field. In spite of the beads of blood that were left on the fence where she had pulled her snag foot free, she was fine. She was nimble and quick. She was beautiful. And I thought, I shall remember this all my life. The peril, the running, the howling of the dogs, the smothering. Then the happiness of action, of leaping. Then the green sweetness of distance. And the trees, their thickness and their compassion all around.
bright it is. And now we share the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts in this beloved community. A candle of comfort for my dad, whose battle with Parkinson's and Lewy body dementia seems to be accelerating, and a candle of strength for our family as we watch him dwindle. From Peter Van Erp, I light a candle for the easy passage of John Michael Greer's father, who died Thursday morning. From John Hickey, a candle of sorrow for my friends, the Laughlin family, who lost baby Sarita to SIDS at 5 months old. A candle from the lay ministry team. Mel Shelley is at the Elmhurst Rehab Center and doing remarkably well, and would most certainly welcome cards and especially visits, by all means. And a candle of joy. This is from Leslie and Bruce Long. A candle of joy. We're taking our granddaughter Macy, M-A-C-I-E, to Manhattan for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Macy's birthday is Thanksgiving Day this year. Happy 3rd birthday, Macy. Let us gather our hearts and minds for prayer, meditation, and reflection. Please take a deep breath. And again, let's fully arrive. And one more. This prayer is adapted from my colleague Laura Horton Ludwig. Spirit of life, God of grace, the wheel of the year has turned again from spring to summer to fall. Once more, the Thanksgiving season has arrived, attendant with difficulty and disturbance and simplicity and the sublime. How shall we sing our song of gratitude now? For what shall we give thanks? For this moment, for friends near and far, for our breath, for courage, for clarity, for strength, for delight, for laughter, for beauty, for the tables round which we gather, for the food we enjoy with friends, seasoned with love and memory, for the sun and the moon and the stars in the sky, for the trees who have seen so much and still stand proud, stretching themselves to the sky. For the bright voices of children, for the wisdom of elders, for the actions that bless the world, for hard work that makes a difference, for music and art and celebration, for generosity, for compassion, for endurance, for hope, for love, for joy. Amen. We'll now take a moment of silence to reflect, and if you've lost someone this year, please stand and raise your hands in tribute to those losses.
I would like to speak this morning about frivolousness, or at least what passes for frivolousness, what can feel like frivolousness when so much is so terribly serious all around us. Because if you are like me, then the weight of these days is great. And we carry the weight around like a massive burden on our backs. We feel it in the tension in our necks, or perhaps in the grinding of our teeth while we sleep. Oh, I see a number of you. While we sleep our sleep that we may wake from surprisingly unrested. It makes us snappish with our loved ones at home, or with our colleagues at work. It lies across our vision like a smoky veil, like the smoke that now sometimes wreathes our days when wildfires burn out of control in our region. Or like that slightly visible pollution that taints the summer air, a faint yellowish gray in so many large cities that lie enclosed by a circle of mountains. The burden we feel seeps out of our fingertips when we vent on social media or comment on a newspaper article supporting or condemning the comments of a fellow reader. It lines our pleasure with anxiety when warm and sunny days fill a season that should be cold and wet. It kindles our road rage when we share the highway with others visibly supporting the opposite of our values and vision. Oh, this one also, perhaps. It hunches our shoulders in fear for ourselves or our children or our friends, or it tightens our shoulders in rage when we encounter messages of hate and condemnation or text chains meant to victimize and traumatize. And though we are not alone, and though we know what we have to do, and that we have each other to help us do it, though we feel the deep truth that because love is the greatest power, we sang this last week, and because love is the greatest power, sure, join in, we shall never, never be defeated. And I saw us all feel it as we sang those lines together. The huge mass of us that were here on Sunday, it looked like Christmas Eve. A testament to the ways we shall never be defeated, because love is the greatest power. And still, these days are heavy. And I am not even getting to the various heavy personal burdens that I know many of us are carrying. But all of this is why joy might sometimes feel frivolous. When so much is so serious, when lives are on the line, when lifelong American immigrants are in danger of imprisonment or separation from parents or children and deportation to countries where they have no life, where they may be endangered, where they may not even speak the language, when democracy is threatened, when science and medicine and women's rights and LGBTQ rights and civil rights and the lives and safety of people of color, when truth is negotiable or even condemned, when hate is a campaign principle, when even a radiant November day brings with it that sobering awareness of climate change, it is not easy to indulge. And I use that word advisedly. It is not easy to indulge in joy. But I really want to name and conjure up the challenges bearing down on us, the challenges we are bearing, because though they are all real, and though they require our attention and our concerted efforts to address or fight or change, they are not all that matters. They can't be all that matters, because life is not just about suffering, and life is not just about virtue, and life is not just about work, and life is not just about struggle. Life is not even just about justice. Life is also always about love. Life is also always about care and relationships. Life is also always about beauty. Life is also always about delight. Life is also always about fascination and fulfillment and the divine spark that is inside you, inside all of us, the divine spark that is fed, among other things, by joy. So to defend the legitimacy of joy, even now, especially now, I am turning to the big powers. As you saw, I am invoking Mary Oliver. The beautiful contemporary poet and scribe of nature and nature's connection to our minds and hearts, Mary Oliver, who lived for a good portion of her life not far from here in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Mary Oliver, who was and is still, a few years since her death, the personal poet laureate of so many Unitarian Universalists. So we heard her words in our reading this morning, her short, breathtaking story of finding the deer hung up on the wire, of running to embrace her, to defend her from the farm dogs converging, the escape, the relief, and the dazzling presence of the deer's resilient and nimble self days later, and the realization that this event, this series of moments, would stay with her always. But also, think of how it landed with her. She lays it out. Not a story of miraculous escape or intense communion with another creature, but a story that ends with the words, the happiness of action, of leaping, the green sweetness of distance between herself with the dogs and the fleeing fortunate deer, and the trees, their thickness, their compassion, all around. there is joy implicit in all of these endings of the story. And the joy is not frivolous, could never be frivolous. But it doesn't require a lucky escape from possible death, not even our own virtuous action, to make joy legit in this world, in our lives. Joy simply is legitimate. It is part of what makes living precious. It's part of why we fight for everyone's right to safety and an equitable chance to lead a fulfilling life, because all people deserve the happiness that is made possible by safety and fulfillment. All people deserve the happiness that is made possible by safety and fulfillment. Even the safety and fulfillment we simply receive or participate in, the moments we need not earn. Mary Oliver also wrote this brief poem entitled This and That. Does anybody know this poem already? I'm trying to take deep dives with her lately when I'm using her, because we know the ones we know, but there's so much more to her oeuvre. So she wrote, This and That. In this early dancing of a new day, dogs leaping on the beach, dolphins leaping not far from the shore, someone is bending over me, is kissing me slowly. Goodness. I mean, goodness. Because slow kissing. But also, what goodness. The early dancing of a new day. Dogs leaping on a beach, dolphins leaping not far from the shore. What blessings, what joy she had. What joy was hers. Not just in the day, but in the dog's joy in the day and the beach, and the dolphins' joy in the water and the air and the power of their sleek bodies, and the camaraderie, the dolphins' camaraderie of being together, and just their zest in it all. And then her beloved partner, who was the photographer, Molly Malone Cook, who shared a life with Mary Oliver for 40 years. Molly Malone Cook bending over her and kissing her slowly. What a morning of bliss. What a morning of joy. Unearned, uncreated, simply there for the relishing. And what a crime it would be not to relish it, not to notice it, not to delight in all these simple, stunning elements of that ordinary, blessed morning. I don't know how many of us are feeling joy these days, and how many of us may also be feeling guilty if we are feeling joy. And how many of us are making room for joy that comes, or joy that might come if we made room in our lives. But my message this morning is to remind us that joy is essential to human living. It is part of what makes life worth living. And what gives us joy, what gives you joy, is inherently worthy. It doesn't need to be impressive. It doesn't need to be virtuous. It doesn't need to be big And it also doesn't need to be small, or simple, or complicated. It is what it is. And if it gives you joy, it is enough. Making music, or making jewelry, or making food, sharing laughter, or sharing a walk, or sharing a book, any book, a graphic novel, or a romance novel, or a serious, incredibly long novel. It's all good. It's all legitimate joy. Whatever lifts us, whatever feeds us, is worthy. And I could say, and I thought about it, we need joy because it helps sustain us. It keeps us going. It feeds us energy that we need for the hard work and the burdens. But I am not saying that today. Because while it is true that joy does this for us, joy deserves to be its own end and not just a means to other, more virtuous ends. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, yes, do good, but also believe in your own right to joy, to safety and fulfillment, just as we believe in everyone's right to safety and fulfillment. Just as we believe other people ought to have a right to experience joy, so must we have that same right to experience joy just for itself. It is not frivolous to experience joy. And it's not frivolous to want to experience joy. It's just human. And it's part of being human. And we believe in the right to be joyfully human for everyone, which includes us. My confession, which some of you know, the most frivolous thing I do these days is the time I spend training and competing my dogs. They are smart and they love to learn and they love doing pretty much anything together with myself and my husband, Tim. That is their favorite, doing something together. So we train them and compete with them, especially in dog agility, which is basically running an obstacle course together at top speed. The time we spend doing this is non-redemptive. It's really obvious, right? It does not make us better people. And it doesn't make the world better. Though it is arguably very fulfilling for the dogs. But so is rolling in dead stuff. So I really don't think that we can use canine fulfillment as a moral compass. However, it is a delicious break from the burdens of the world. To focus instead on communicating effectively and at very high speed with a very different and rollicking and beautiful species while you try to navigate a very tricky obstacle course together. It takes complete concentration. Anything less, and you definitely will not succeed. Even with complete concentration, it's very hard to succeed. But it is so fun for the dogs and for us. A really good run when you are beautifully connected together and you get all the hard things right and you fly and it all just works. It is the best feeling. And it's not just yours. The dog feels it too. It is such a blast. Mary Oliver didn't have to justify the time she gave to her scattered and lovely this and that morning. And she didn't try to. Not even in writing the poem later. She didn't earn that morning by setting it down and publishing it so that we could know it as part of the immense beauty and detail she always laid out in her writing. Justification was not required for her this and that morning. I mean, was it? I'm asking you. Was justification required for Mary Oliver's this and that morning? No. She didn't have to justify it. None of us does. None of us should. What we can do and should do with our joy in anticipation of the holiday this week is appreciate it. And that is what she did. Just be grateful. Just be grateful, as she was for that morning and for the joy that came at the end of her encounter with the deer. And in so many other of her mornings and days and perceptions. And to be clear, appreciation doesn't have to be a huge deal. I have preached before on cultivating gratitude as part of leading a balanced life. And yes, I think that matters. But this is also not a sermon about gratitude practices and growing our gratitude and deepening our emotional balance. This is just a sermon about the legitimacy of joy, even in times of hardship and struggle, especially in times of hardship and struggle. A sermon that says it can be enough, as far as joy is concerned, to just affirm it and appreciate it. To be grateful that even amidst hardship and struggle, we have the capacity for joy, which keeps life worth living. The contemporary Buddhist teacher Sharon Salzberg says, I encourage myself to remember that being grateful doesn't mean I have to keep a gratitude jar that counts my blessings. It just means I can reset my thoughts, just like in meditation, and choose instead to gently settle my attention on something positive. We don't erase the pain. It is still there. But we can broaden our perspective by opening to our pain and also opening to things other than the suffering that we feel. Of course, in order for joy to exist, especially now, we have to keep making room for it. So that is my closing message to you, to us all. We and the world need more joy, not less. Make room. Make time for joy. And if you are not feeling joy right now, that is understandable. There's so much happening in the world, and as I said, I know many of us are holding personal burdens that are heavy and grievous. Make time and room for joy all the same. Maybe with some space made for it, joy can come to every one of us. I hope so. I believe so. And please, please, be not ashamed of your joy. Be grateful for it. The gift of joy in your precious life. a gift everyone deserves, one of the great gifts in living. Singing gave so many of us joy last week. Let's sing more. Whatever gives you joy, do it. Make time for it. Honor it. Share it. And if you are still struggling with guilt around joy, then I leave you with the words of the 18th century British writer Amelia Barr. It is only in sorrow bad weather masters us. In joy, we face the storm and defy it. Much joy to every one of you, good people. Much joy. Amen. Our second hymn is Creative Love, Our Thanks We Give. The ordinary tune to this hymn is beautiful, but a little mournful. And it wasn't what we wanted for the service. It has been written to also be singable with another tune. And so we have transcribed it with the other tune for you this morning. So if you think you know this hymn, think again. But it's a very beautiful and singable tune. Can we rise in body or spirit and sing out as we are able? Be seated. We have a special offering this morning. It's one of our special offering Sundays. Once a month, we take a special collection and give the entirety of it to an outside organization or an affiliated organization within the church that supports our hopes and vision for the world. And this month, the organization is the Loaves and Fishes Mission. The Loaves and Fishes mission is an important way we at First U put our principles into action. Through the LFM, we help those in need without judgment or strings attached and with generosity and love. We also work in connection with the larger Loaves and Fishes Rhode Island, an ecumenical board of about 13 faith groups and churches providing for people in need and also helping to seek further sources of funding. Over the years, Loaves and Fishes of First U has provided many services, often at the same time, throughout the year. The Y'all Come community lunches, in cooperation with Beneficent Church across the river, monthly hot dinners to a men's shelter in Cranston, monthly dinners at the Emmanuel House Men's Shelter, and now other support with clothing and needed items as it serves both men and women. The monthly sandwich mission, packing 50 to 75 lunches and delivering them to Charles Gate Complex and people on the street of Providence. Annual provision of needed items to residents of Chicoine House, which serves those with debilitating mental illness, and monthly provision of what may be needed and not covered by their own funding to the Blackstone Valley Advocacy Center, which houses women and their children who have fled abuse and violence in their homes, and women and children at Macaulay House. Thousands of people every year get essential support from this mission. We also have an annual contract with Bombas, receiving socks, underwear, and t-shirts from them through their nationwide giving program attached to their Buy One, Donate One program. Last year, we received and distributed 8,500 pairs of socks and additional thousands of t-shirts and underwear. We at First U are living our principles when we do this work or support it in any way through volunteer hours and financial gifts. This is an entirely volunteer-driven arm of the church. We are only able to continue and expand given the much appreciated generous support of everyone here. So they said, thank you in advance for your support. Please give as generously as you are able to this vital mission and form of outreach beyond our walls and beyond even our own city. If you are using a check to make a gift, please indicate in the memo line that if the check is for your pledge. This week, I very much hope it is going to the community collection. Thank you so much for all that you give and all that you do and all that you are. Among the many ways to manifest our faith, we have these invitations. Our next Path to Membership class is scheduled for December 7th and 8th. It's a weekend class, obviously. Saturday morning, December 7th, 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., and then Sunday after worship from 12 to 1:30 p.m. This is a great opportunity to learn more about First U and Unitarian Universalism and the benefits of being a voting member and an integral part of our community. See Jen Nardone in the Newcomers Cafe to learn more and or to sign up. Jen, can you wave from the back of the meeting house so anybody who's going to be looking for you knows who to be looking for there? She's our membership coordinator as well as a member of the congregation. And 2 opportunities for families with very young children are on the church calendar. On December 8th, during worship, there will be an infant and child dedication as we welcome our newest family members into the community. And on Christmas Eve, it is our tradition to read the name of any baby born among our member and friend families in the past year. If you want to know more about either of these 2 events or to give us the name of a child for Christmas Eve, please speak to our Director of Religious Education, Jenny Nelson. Our benediction is from the writing of 20th century American author Wendell Berry. The love and the work of friends and lovers belong to the task and are its health. Rest and rejoicing belong to the task and are its grace. Let tomorrow come tomorrow. Not by your will is the house carried through the night. Can we join in the words for our chalice extinguishing, printed in the order of service? We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again.